What's up, pod pals? Welcome to Podcasting Business School. It's the show where I teach you how to love your podcast like a hobby, but build it like a business. If you're looking for some podcasting tips around podcast growth, podcast audience engagement, and podcast monetization, you're in the right place. Today, I've got one of my oldest pod pals, Bruce Langford from Mindfulness Mode. This guy was on episode 24 of this show, and we are well over 200 at the point where this is being released. So like 200 episodes ago, we hung out. It's been too long. Bruce is one of my favorite podcasters. His success in the space and his longevity of success and like just the quality of his show, the quality of the coaching that he puts out there and the people that he's able to impact. I got nothing but good things to say about my friend Bruce Langford. Bruce, welcome back to the show, man.
Hey, buddy. It is so great to be here. So good to see your face and to hear that amazing voice. And yeah, with COVID, it feels like it's just been eternity since we've been together because I love going to events and meeting up with people, but that hasn't happened for a long time. So yeah, how have you been?
I've been busy. It's funny about the whole like pandemic lockdown thing. I felt like my routine didn't change that much. I still sit in my basement and just talk to people on Zoom and now StreamYard. I'm like, now everyone else gets to feel what it's like to be a podcaster. But not everyone else enjoys it quite as much as we do. So, but you know, man, like I'm so excited to bring you back on the show. I know that you always have just such great consistency with your show, with your business. And I want to just teach our audience a little bit about that. We have so many podcasters that are listening in and they're like, I want to have a coaching business. I want to be able to impact people. I want to maybe be able to do this full time. So I want to dig into some of the simple foundation steps that you've used to build your show, build your audience engagement, and then build a business through that. So does that sound fun?
Well, that sounds fun. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So consistency, yes, that was the central word in my mind when I started this thing. I thought, okay, Bruce, John Lee Dumas says be consistent, and so did a lot of other people. And so I have not missed an episode since I started back in 2015. I started in August of 2015, and I have done 2 episodes a week ever since then. And so
how many total is that now? Where are you at?
I'm just going to do it. And so I've got 2.8 million downloads now. And, people keep contacting me. They keep listening. They keep telling me they love the show. So I must be doing something right. Not sure what it is.
Yeah. I mean, 2.8 million downloads is amazing. How many episodes have you released total now?
Well, it's around 600.
Yeah.
I think.
That's amazing. And it's weird. Like our little cohort of podcasters that we all kind of met through New Media Summit. Yeah. It seems like so many of us were that like class of 2015, 2016. Like I launched mine mid 2016. And so many of us that met there for the first time, we're all in that like 5, 6 years, 7 years of podcasting at this point. And we all kind of have been going through this journey together. It's so damn cool to see people's success. Everybody that's sticking with it. It's like, yeah, I've done 1 million downloads. It's pretty damn cool. Or 2.8 million like you're doing. And the impact, like I just hope that the next cohort of podcasters, I feel like there's a whole cohort that released during the pandemic. So many people launched a podcast during the pandemic. They're pandemic podcasters. I hope that they stick with it long enough so that in the year 2025, 2026, they're the ones coming on saying, I've done 2.8 million downloads in the last 6 years. So with that being said, like, what do you think that those people should be focusing on as far as being that person that can stick around and have a show and have an engaged audience and build up that many, downloads?
Well, I think part of the key is just making sure that it's something you resonate with, that you're on a topic that you truly love, because I absolutely love talking to people about my topic of mindfulness. And I don't care whether they're somebody that is super ultra famous or somebody that nobody has ever heard of. I just really enjoy talking to people about this topic. And I have so many people, Adam, reaching out to me all the time, sending me emails. Hey, I'd love to be on your show. I've got a great story. And so that's kind of cool when you can pick and choose and, just find the person that you think would be so fascinating. And it turns out they usually are pretty fascinating. So I love that part of it.
Well, I find that you're a very curious interviewer. And that's like my favorite type of show to listen to, is when you can tell that the host is really curious about like what that other person has to say. And that's where I hope that I am coming off as that too, because I'm always just like, what are they doing with their business? Like, how are they doing this? So one of the first ideas of curiosity that popped into my head is I just did a podcast audit right before we started talking here today with somebody that's a newer podcaster. And they're like, I'm asking my people to email me and connect with me. I'm putting myself out there. Crickets. Like no one will I'm like, DM me on Instagram or email me with your feedback. I'd love to hear from you, and nothing. And I hear that from so many newer podcasters. What advice would you give to that person, on how to initiate some engagement? And then at what point, like, should we actually start to expect it? Because if they're brand new, I feel like if you got 5 people listening, and the chances are that somebody emails you is going to be slim and none. So any thoughts around that, Bruce?
Yeah, well, the one word that pops into my mind is one that's so overused, and that is you just got to be yourself. You got to be authentic, and we've heard it a million times, but you just have to really come across as a real person, honest, upfront, that you're an authentic person and that they can relate to you. And that seems to be the thing that makes the biggest difference, I think. And I love interviewing guests, but my son, who he's done a lot of work with me, and he's edited a lot of my shows and everything else, and he said, Dad, I think you need to do more solo episodes, and then people will get to know you more, because I just love interviewing people, so I always look forward to that, and I love reading the books and everything else. But then he said it again, and he said it again. Dad, how many solo episodes did you do? Because all the ones I'm editing are like guests. I think you should do some solo episodes, and then you'll get more coaching clients. Dad, I think that's the thing you should do, Dad. And so I'm like, okay, I'm finally going to do this. I'm really going to do it. I'm going to make up my mind. I'm going to commit myself. I'm going to do 1 episode a week, which is going to be a solo episode. And that started back in March. And because I had done solo episodes before. I did a whole bunch of solo episodes at various times. But then I thought, well, I'll just make it a regular thing. So every Sunday night, I'll put out a solo episode. And so, wow, guess what happened? People would go, hey, could we maybe meet on Zoom and talk about coaching? Because I would put on there, hey, if you have anxiety, if you have stress, hey, I'm a hypnotist. I help people through coaching and hypnotism. And, that's the fastest way to get rid of your blocks. That's the fastest way to move forward. Are you ever wondering why you can't achieve the success you want? Well, I can help you. There's some blocks in there that are holding you back. And through hypnotism, I can help you with that, and coaching. And so then all of a sudden people are emailing me, and they're saying, and so then I said, hey, when you email me, put such and such in the subject line so I know which episode you heard me on. And I always do that. And then it's like, every time I do a solo episode, that's when they're emailing me. So I'm like, well, my son, he kind of had the right idea.
Well, I wholeheartedly agree with your son. He's a wise young man. I always tell newer podcasters, like, if you sell coaching, show off your coaching and your speaking skills. Otherwise, your audience will tend to see the other person as the expert, and you're the person that interviews experts. So if you are doing a solo episode, or if somebody wants to speak on stages, you got to kind of show that off a little bit, and your audience starts to see you as the expert, just like you said. And they're like, oh, that topic that you taught on, all of a sudden you're the teacher now, not the other person that you're talking to. So I think there's a nice little balance there that you can. I love the idea of a solo and an interview every week. I love that balance. Now, another route that I have taken that you may want to dip your toe in the water, like I mentioned, I was doing a podcast audit, where that is that person that comes off of my listenership, and they come on the show, and I audit their podcast for them. And that's like me doing live coaching on the show. It's released as an episode. Now, I don't know if you could hypnotize somebody and put that out as an episode, but I think I'm starting to wonder if that's not the secret to all these downloads you're getting. You've hypnotized your audience. You're like, you will hit the subscribe button. You're doing the Jedi stuff on. You will hit subscribe. You will like and follow me. No, you got a quality show. That's why you get so many downloads. But like doing a coaching style episode, that has really cranked my coaching business quite a bit and my membership and things like that, because that's the ultimate validation of, wow, this guy can think on his feet. He's really like, these people are asking him on the fly questions, and it shows that off to another level. So that might be something you run by your son, powwow on it a little bit and see like, how can we pull off an experimental coaching week or something like that. So that's something to file away.
Great idea. Great idea. I appreciate that, Adam. Very
okay.
much so.
So I love how simple your system is. We were talking about this, and it's kind of like mine. We try to pull people off the sidelines that are listening to our show, get them active, like get some eyeball time, interact a little bit. If it's a good fit, we work together. We coach them. They invest in some sort of services. But can you walk through like the typical customer journey of somebody that eventually hires you for your services? Like, what do the conversations look like? Have they been listening to your show for a while? And any like typical things that are popping up or patterns that you could tell us about?
Yeah, they usually have been listening to my show for a while, and they'll say, hey, I started listening to you around a year ago, and I really liked the episode about such and such, that they usually mention certain episodes. I learned so much from that. And so then we just dig right in, and I say, okay, so tell me, like, why are you reaching out to me? And they're like, oh, I can't believe I'm actually talking to you. And that's the thing I notice is that they see me as a celebrity, right?
Yeah.
They see me as
it's kind of weird, right? Like, yeah, I get those too. And I'm like, I'm just kind of a weird guy. I don't know. I'm not really famous or anything.
Yeah. And so then we just dig right in and we talk about the struggles and the challenges that they're having and how, hey, give me some thoughts. I always have them fill in a form before that first session, and they tell me in that form some of the things they're struggling with, and it's very specific, so they can give me some idea of why they're reaching out to me, and then I can follow that. And I follow that, and I said, well, you said such and such, so tell me more about that. Tell me more about why that came out on this form, and we just kind of go right through this, and a lot of times I can say, well, what you said under point 5, that resonates with me because I've had 3 or 4 clients that have all said that same thing. And this is what we did. We went ahead and we dug in and I hypnotized the person. And then we went back to certain life events that had been really major for them. And then we realized, hey, there's this one thing that's been holding me back, and I've been replaying that in my mind over and over without even knowing it, and all this is like a light coming on. It's like a light bulb being switched on, and they're like, oh, wow, and it's just pretty incredible. And I had one of my coaching clients just email me yesterday, and she said, Bruce, I just got to tell you this. She said, since our session last Thursday, I have felt no anxiety, no stress. I have been completely relaxed. I can't believe this is me. I just wanted you to know
That's
this.
awesome.
Because when she first approached me, she's like, I felt anxiety for 20 years, like just constant. I'm so filled with anxiety at work. I don't know what to do about it. And so that was pretty amazing to receive that email from her.
Okay. So I love so many things about what you just said, because it kind of validates what I preach to my audience a lot. Like, it's simple. It's relationship building.
Yeah.
It's not this like expansive funnel thing. So many people get bogged down in the marketing and they get intimidated by it. And like, I got to invest all these dollars in hiring somebody to market funnel, email copy and all this stuff. And it's just like you said, I noticed this with my health podcast, Million Pound Mission, also, where it was like the 1 year mark of listenership. That's where most of my clients came from. They've been in it for a while. Like, I'm in their ears every single week, and finally they reach out, and then a conversation starts, and all of a sudden a relationship is built. We interact a little bit, and then if it's a good fit, we're coaching. They're in the membership, things like that. So I love how simple it is. I love an example that's not me. So I appreciate that, because that helps validate that like, you can really do this. And I know you do very well with your coaching. Now, okay, when you pull them off of the email conversation, you're like, hey, let's get together. They fill out the little form. How long is that consultation?
It's usually 30 minutes to 45 minutes. And
Okay.
what I do is, as soon as I get the email, I jump on it as fast as I can. And I give them 2 dates, 2 times within like either today, tomorrow, or maybe the following day. Like I'm
Okay.
like
So
right
you're going
away.
within 72 hours.
Yeah.
You want to
Yeah.
get it. Okay.
Yeah, I want to get them while they're still thinking about it. It's still fresh in their minds, and they're still, actually, honestly, they're still feeling the pain, because it's the pain that caused them to reach out to me. They were feeling that pain, and I don't want them to have a chance to lose that pain. To be quite honest, I want them to be feeling that pain, because that pain, it's been there a long time, but they know how to push it down. They know how to move through it, because they have to survive. So I want to, just reach right out to them and say, hey, how about tonight at 7? Let's talk. Let's jump on this call.
That I just had an aha moment, Bruce. That was super helpful for me, because I feel like when I'm asking people to come meet with me, I'm just going, hey, grab a spot on my schedule. And then it might be 3 weeks down the road, because my schedule gets super clogged up with all the interviews and everything that I'm doing. So
I used to do that. I used to do that with my schedule, and honestly, I just switched, because this works so much better to just say, here are 2 times. Here are 2 times right here, maybe 3, but I never offer them more than that. Here are 2 times. And then sometimes they send me an email back and they say, oh, sorry, I'm not available tonight at 7 or tomorrow at 10. And I'm like, okay, here's 2 more times. Let's do it. And so I just find I find a lot more of those people are actually booking a time. Whereas when I was doing it with the scheduler, they'd reach out, and then I'd look at them and go, hey, just a minute, that person never actually booked a time. What's going on? So that's why I changed it.
I think I like using Calendly. I've talked about it. I've talked about it on the show before. It's like one of my favorite tools, but it's one of the worst named tools, because it's hard to say. And my autocorrect always wants to change it to something else.
Oh yeah.
Always. Like,
and I use Schedule Once, which is very much the same.
Same thing. Yeah, same thing. So what I may do is have these little like pocket, like every single day, have a little pocket opening of a couple sessions that if somebody hits me up, I can go, hey, hop on the Wednesday. I'll label it as like the Wednesday quick meeting or something like that. So it's like within that 24 hours, instead of having a set thing that they jump into and it's 2 weeks down the road, 3 weeks down the road. So I like that a lot. I'm going to experiment with that. And like, could you ballpark like your closing rate increase as far as like going from 72-hour touch point versus 2 weeks down the road?
Oh yeah. I think it moved up to about 80 to 90%. Like before that, it was more like 30 to 40%.
Oh man.
They'd just drop off, they'd drop off it. And then if they booked it 2 weeks out, then a lot of times they wouldn't show up, So then I
see that too.
Yeah, they wouldn't show up. And so what I do, and this is another thing I always do, is they've got this appointment booked for tonight at 7. Well, tonight at 5, I email them. I mean, I have it automatically happening anyway, but I email them a personal one as well as the auto ones. And the personal one will say something, I've asked them to fill in the form. They've sent me the form. And then, so I'll pull something out of that form that I know about them specifically. And I'll say, hey, I'm really looking forward to talking to you in 2 hours about whatever, about your experience with, your relationship that went bad, and how we can move forward with some help, something like this. So it's personal. And then my rate of people who actually show up really improved.
That's outstanding. I love these tips, and I love the form. I do that as well. And the fact that you're asking them for their pain points. Like when I talk to podcasters, I have a checklist. I'm like, select all that apply. What are we struggling with today? Yeah. But I do always have at the very bottom, it's all good. I'm just here to connect or whatever. So that there's always that, like, I'm actually okay right now. I have to have all these things wrong. I feel like that's important.
Yeah.
I started adding this question that's worked really well for me to get to know them a little bit better before we meet up and close more clients, where I go, all right, if I could invent a program, product, or service that would solve your biggest pain point in podcasting, what would that be?
I love that.
And they just describe exactly what they need me to sell them. And a lot of times I do have that program, product, and service. They just don't realize it yet.
Right.
Because I don't sit and talk about my full arsenal of all the things that I can do. Like if somebody's like, oh, I know I need a lead magnet, but I don't know how to do any web skills. And they don't realize I can build them a lead magnet in like a day. And then we're like, oh, that thing that you said, I actually do that. What? Mind blown. Let's go. Yeah. So it kind of greases the wheels again. Do you suggest any other sort of, or is there any question that you put in your pre-connection form that's really working well for you, that brings out what they need from you, or that lets them open up a little bit more?
Yeah. There's a lot about that form. And one of the things is just the name of the form itself. I call it your benefits form. So right there, that's like, hey, you mean I'm going to benefit? Like, and it might be a little bit subconscious, right?
I love it.
But it's your benefits form, because you're going to benefit by this experience. And then my first question is, what is the reason you're arranging for this session today? So right there, you're putting it, you are doing this. Hey, you are taking action. And I really emphasize that, hey, way to go for taking action, because that's a big deal. You know, a lot of people don't take action. So way to go. What's the change you want to make in your life? So it's a very simple opening question. And then after that, I say, please list 7 benefits you expect to gain from making the change you would like to make. And it gets them really thinking. And I want them to fill in all 7, you know, so that I get lots of ideas. And then after that, I've got check boxes that I get them to fill in. And so once I go through and get them to fill in all this information, I have a lot to work with that is specific to that individual. And that's huge. One of the things that took me quite a long time to learn was, hey, Bruce, you just have to ask them. You know, it sounds so simple, but you just have to ask questions. And the better your questions, the better the more clients you're going to get, the more you're going to help your clients. You just have to listen and ask great questions. And of course, that's the key to being a good interviewer as well as a podcaster.
Man, I love that form. I love those questions. I feel like the question that's probably popping up in our audience's mind at this point is, wow, these guys are spending a lot of time on this. What if we suck at closing, or what if we aren't closing people, or what? You know, I feel like if you're just going to spend this much time, we can't be selling like a $14 product. You know, then you're spending, you're meeting with people, you're putting out content, obviously the runway there, but they reach out to you, you're emailing back and forth. You're doing a 30 to 45 minute, benefits assessment or whatever it is, that consultation. And then like we hope for that sale. So any advice around, if you're going to use this method around picking the right price point? I get so many questions about how much should I charge for coaching? Like, obviously you can't just broad brush, like you should charge $200 an hour, but like just any questions that people listening should be thinking about when they're coming up with their pricing model. Any advice or, anything that you could give in line with that, I think would be super helpful.
Well, I think when you're first starting out, you have to, price a little less. And then once you've got a bunch under your belt, then you can gradually start to increase it more. But I like to always put together a package. So I'm offering them a package of maybe 12 sessions, or I'm offering them a package of 5 sessions that will be a specific hypnosis package to deal with one specific issue that they're having. And we can do that in 5 sessions. But I like to give them a choice. I like to be prepared on that call and have those choices right there. And the thing about it is, you just need to be so calm and unemotional about it, and just practice before you even get a client on the other end, right?
Like you're running towards the goal line. We don't want to fumble at the 1 yard line and go,
that's right.
Hey, I really want you to be my client. And be all weird about it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And another thing I learned is, you just have to be ready to say, so what credit card will you be putting that on, in a very calm way? And then I have it already. Like I have a form already, and I'll just like there are 2 or 3 different ways I'll do it, but very often I'll just be like, oh, I've just emailed you a link. I've just emailed you a form. All you have to do is fill in your credit card information and the amount, and I'm going to stay right here on the line while you do it. There's no damn way I'm hanging up. You know what I mean, Adam?
This is why you have 80 to 90% closing ratio when
there's
they get
no
on there.
way I'm saying, okay, see you later. Go ahead and fill in the form, because that is not a smart move. The smart move is to say, hey, I'm going to be talking to you about a couple more things in a minute, but here's the form. I've just emailed it to you. Did you get it? Do you see it there in your inbox? Oh, yeah. Well, I'll stay here in case you have any questions. You go right ahead and fill in that form and make the payment on your credit card. And then I've got a couple of other things to talk to you about.
Okay. Do you ever sweeten the deal with like a little discount or anything like that? Like, hey, here's a fast action $100 off or anything like that. Do you ever do that?
I used to. I used to do it, but I think as I've advanced and become more professional, I just kind of, I get the impression that it's just better to just say, this is the price and we can begin next week. And do you have any questions? And rather than this whole thing about, oh, well, if you pay in full right now, I'll take $100 off. I think that weakens it.
Okay.
I used to do it, but I think that it's stronger. I come across as being more confident to just say, my price is $3,400 and I just need you to go ahead, if you're ready, and fill out the information. Oh, by the way, all my clients pay in full up front.
That's amazing.
That's what I do. Because you know what? If somebody then comes across and they're like, oh, well, I don't have the money and everything else. I mean, I still continue on, but I mean, they have to be able to afford what you have to offer.
Yeah.
And so if they can afford it, they better bloody well pay up front. That's just my philosophy.
Yeah.
And it's just because it's so much better for both of us. I can accomplish a lot more from my end.
Yeah.
And if they have made that commitment and they're truly serious about wanting to move through these blocks, wanting to get rid of this effect from some terrible trauma they've had, then we just need to be professional. You just need to pay and we'll go forward.
I like your posture there, man. Like that's something I definitely need to work on, where I get kind of jumpy when it comes to the actual sales thing. Now, something that has, the reason I mentioned the discount, something that a technique that I've been using that is working, and maybe there was a little bit of a Jedi mind trick involved in this that you could, break down. I'll be in the consult and I'll say, we'll kind of hone in on what the best option is for them. Okay, cool. I'm ready to go. I want to work with people that are ready to take action. I just set up a discount code for you. The discount code is your name. I always make it their name, so they know I just created it just for them. If you use that in the next 48 hours, it's going to be worth $100 or whatever. And that's been kind of like the straw that breaks the camel's back if they're on the fence. And I feel like it creates, for me, sometimes urgency. It's hard to find urgency. If it's like, well, I could start now or I could start 10 weeks from now. So if I can give them just a little nugget and a discount code, but what I'm going to start doing, I'm going to experiment with, is I'm going to do the Langford technique that you just described, where I'm going to send them the link right there via email. I'll say, hey, if you want to do this right now, you can type in your name as the discount code and you get $100 if you want to start before we exit the call. I'm going to make them do it right then and there if they want to do it. I think I'm just going to experiment with it and I'll report back.
Yeah, report back. Let me know. Yeah, because for me, that made a big difference. That really helped. Because like I think it was just last week, I had a coaching client, we got through the whole thing. I mean, a potential coaching client. We got through the whole thing. And then she said, well, okay, well, I'm good with the price and everything, but I'm going to have to think about it. And so then I just went into my alternate little bit about, you know what, I'm just going to give you some advice right now. I've had other clients that say that. And you know how we talked a few minutes ago about that inner bully, about your, your inner voices that are derailing you? Well, in the next 2 days, that inner bully is going to just have a heyday. It's going to have so much fun. It's just going to be working and working and working on you, telling you what an idiot you are, what a fool you are, why would you do this? Do you really want to give your inner bully 2 days of fun? Just, to derail you on this thing that you know right now, right at this minute, is right for you? Do you really want that for yourself? Is that the value you place on yourself? Like if I were you, I would just sign up right now, because then you will get off this call and you are going to feel awesome, because you know that you did something for you to help you. And isn't that why we're talking here in the first place? And she said, oh, you know what? You're right. You're right. I'm going to do it right now. And
Yeah.
that was it,
Well, that's a great example of, I talk to a lot of podcasters that are like, I need to hold back some of my best stuff. I can't talk about it all on the show. And I'm like, listen, put it all out there. Give them everything that you've got. People will pay you to make them implement and hold them accountable to implementing the right steps in the right order. So that's what that woman is going to pay you to do, Bruce. Like, she's heard all your stuff and you made that light switch flick on and go, oh, I'm not going to do this on my own. If this thing really needs to happen, and I do truly have the money that I can invest in this, I've got to do this now, because otherwise, like you said, the bully takes over and I'm right back where I was, procrastinating on this whole thing. So I love what you just said there, man. That's powerful. Now, I know there are podcasters out there, and I'm slowly exiting this mindset, but just people that chronically undercharge for what they're worth. Like, what would you say to those people that are like spending hours and they're charging $14 a month for a membership or whatever? Like, if somebody's just not charging what they're worth, what mindset switch did you have to flip when you finally were like, all right, I'm going to start charging a little bit more. I'm going to raise my prices, or as you built confidence in your pricing, what was that journey like for you?
Well, I discovered self-hypnosis, and I knew that, hey, Bruce, you can really work on yourself. You can really work on this, because this is all about your own value. How much do you value yourself? And that's one of the things I learned when I learned to be a hypnotist, is that, when you're helping people, you're helping them because they have a low self-value. That is the main problem here. And so, just like them, sometimes I have a low self-value. So I started doing self-hypnosis every day. And, it's all about, hey, I am enough. I am worth it. And so you're absolutely right. A lot of us, we tend to be pulled toward that place where we don't charge enough, where we don't have enough self-value. And so if you're there, you need to reach out to me and we'll talk about it. We'll do, because I teach self-hypnosis, which is ongoing after our sessions. You can just go right on and do this for years. And that's one of the things that I teach that people just love. And I love it myself. And then, of course, I help you with specific challenges that you have in your own life and in your business, because it seems like we're all being held back by something. Would you agree with that, Adam?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Everybody is. We all have our pain points. We all have our roadblocks. We have our fears that are standing in the way, those inner bullies, like you said.
Yeah.
And especially in the podcasting space, like the whole imposter syndrome is giant.
It is.
Where we see, I'm sure that somebody heard you talking about 2.8 million downloads, and all of a sudden, well, I only do 17 downloads per episode. I'm not a real podcaster. And it's like, screw that, man. You are a real podcaster. If you are plugging in your ATR 2100, putting your best stuff out there every single week, and you do it consistently for 6 years and 600 episodes and, twice a week or whatever, like, that you are a podcaster, you have your own media company, and everybody's going to operate at their own level. So get that thought out of your mind. But no, I think that you're just a great example of simplicity, consistency, and focusing on impacting the right people. And you just do those three things over and over. You have so many reps. Now you're, like you said, you're closing at 80 to 90% of people get in front of you. Like, these people are coming on board, and you're able to impact those people at a deeper level. So I think it's pretty awesome.
It's exciting. It really is exciting. And, I absolutely love helping people. I just, like, that really gets me on fire, when they reach out to me and I can help them about a specific problem. And then I learn more about me too. I mean, that's what coaching is about. You help others and then you help yourself. You learn more about how to move forward yourself. So that's a great part of it.
Heck yes, sir. All right, man. Well, I feel like some of our audience may want to reach out to you and get a little hypnosis action and then learn even how to self-hypnotize. So where do people go? If they're watching on YouTube, they can go to the website right there that's on the screen. But I'll let you, in audio, go ahead and toss that out, and we can make sure people can get connected with you, Bruce.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, my email is bruce@mindfulnessmode.com. So that's my website, mindfulnessmode.com. Remember that mindfulness just has the one L, mindful, because, it's full. So a lot of people, even me, I've typed it that way. I'm go
me
full,
too.
Full.
Yeah.
I've done that. And so mindfulness mode with the one L, and mindfulnessmode.com. So just send me an email, bruce@mindfulnessmode.com, and we'll talk. And I love to hang out and talk to people, even if, whatever you want to talk about. Maybe you want to talk about podcasts. Hey, how do you, I know that Adam is the man to talk about podcasts here, PodPal. I like to talk to people too, Adam.
Yeah. Well, you can talk to some of my pod pals. It's cool, okay. Bruce.
All right.
No, I encourage everybody out there to reach out to Bruce. This is somebody that I pay attention to what he's doing, because he's a veteran in the game. He does really, really well with this show. He's got a quality show. He does it the right way. I enjoy the way that Bruce shows up for his audience, the way that he's easy to learn from, because he's such a great teacher. All right. So if you want to reach out to this guy, don't be afraid. Like, he will interact with you. Kick him an email, get into his world, check out his podcast. It's amazing. Be one of the next million downloads that he does. Go check it out. Go check it out. Bruce, man, you're one of my favorite people in the space. I appreciate what you do, the way that you do it. And I'm really grateful that you showed up here today to teach us a little bit.
And Adam, thanks so much for inviting me on the show. This was absolutely awesome. I've been looking forward to it for a long time. So glad to sit down and share ideas and thoughts with you. So thanks for inviting me, man.
Yes, sir. And soon we'll connect face to face again in real life, and
yes, we will
have some more adventures out in the streets of the world.
Yes, we will. Absolutely.
All right, Pod Pals. Bruce has given us a lot to consider here today. I feel like sometimes we overthink the business structure aspect, and Bruce is another great example of how simple this could be. And if we just put in our reps and fine tune our system and fine tune our ability to correctly communicate to our audience, amazing things can happen with the impact you can create and the impact that brings as far as your bank account as well. All right. If you guys, want to get a hold of me, of course, my biggest passion right now is Clubhouse. Come and join me on Clubhouse. I just launched a Clubhouse club. It's under Podcasting Business School. And funny side note, I ran out of space where you get to enter your title. So there are no spaces in that. It's just Podcasting Business School, one word. So go check it out. Come hang out in my club. And people like Bruce may come in and pop in with you. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in, supporting the show. As always, I will send you out into the world wishing you health, happiness, and many downloads. We'll see you